everybody. Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Pest Problems by Pfitzer Pest Control. We are Garrett and Karen Pfitzer, owners of Pfitzer Pest Control, serving you here at our headquarters in Mobridge to Aberdeen, Huron to Mitchell, all the way to Chamberlain, and then in Sheridan, Wyoming. We're pleased to have you here with us this evening for another episode, and tonight we are going to welcome the cold weather by talking about the bugs and what they do during the cold weather months. So Garrett has 6 different things that the bugs are doing, or things that you can do with the bugs. Do with the bugs, for the bugs, around the bugs, at the bugs, during the winter months. So Garrett, let's talk about bugs and winter.
Let's do that.
What do they do? What's one of the things that they do?
A lot of bugs will migrate.
Where do they go? They go south for the winter?
They do.
Where to?
Mexico.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Do they speak Spanish?
Probably.
Interesting.
They'll have a little trouble on the border this year, but
Maybe they won't be able to get back in because of the new wall.
yeah. But no, like the monarch butterfly, they'll travel 2,000 miles to get out of the cold.
Beautiful. I want to be a monarch butterfly. Huh. Well, that's interesting. Well, that makes sense. They migrate. They go south for the winter. What else do they do? Or what's something else they may do?
Communal living, which is where they'll all huddle together and use their body temperature.
Also smart.
Honeybees, that's a good example. Ants, termites, they'll go below the frost line. They'll live off their preserves that they built up over the summer.
I'm building up some preserves very nicely,
Me too.
I feel
Me
like.
too. Me too. The next one is indoor living. This is where the box elder bugs, cluster flies, all that kind of
They move inside.
fun insects, they'll try and move inside for the winter.
And this is what we preach and preach and preach and preach. The bugs, if you don't spray your house in the fall, the bugs are going to move in. And you have to put that protective barrier up to keep them out. So for those of you who maybe didn't get that and have bugs in your house, that's what happens. They move inside.
Right.
Thank you.
Another one, I hope I pronounce this right, it's called torpor. And what they will do is some insects will freeze solid. And then when it warms back up, they'll start back up.
Interesting. Like almost, I've heard of that. Who else does that?
A lot of frogs do that.
Frogs, yes. Interesting. Cool. So that's 4. So what's the 5th thing that they may do?
Okay, hope I pronounce this one right too. Diapause.
That looks right.
Basically, what they'll do is they kind of they kind of synchronize their life cycle with the weather changes. The word pause in there is exactly what they'll do, is they'll pause. If you can't fly, you can't do anything, you take a break and you pause, and they just kind of shut their bodies down and they just hang out.
So they do things, but they just slow everything down.
Yeah.
Kind of like us in the winter.
Yeah.
We don't like to go outside. When I say us, I mean like people living in the cold, right? You just like want to hide. You want to just cover up with a blanket. And you just kind of slow things down. I don't know. Interesting. What's the final thing, Garrett? Because these are just so exciting. I just can't wait to hear the 6th one.
Number 6 is they kind of make their own antifreeze.
Creepy.
Basically, they'll change their chemical makeup and they lower their freezing point. And it's still kind of a phase of hibernation, I guess you could call it. But they'll lower it so their freezing point so low that they won't freeze. But then when it starts warming up, they'll change that chemical makeup in there and they'll be back in the spring.
Cool. Great. Well, that was really educational. I'm so excited to know all of these fun facts. I'm sure everybody that's watching is too. So just to regroup, they go south, they migrate, they live in a group and they huddle. They move inside, they shut their bodies down, they slow their bodies down, or they create their own antifreeze. I mean, pretty awesome. In a nutshell, right?
Nature's amazing. It is.
Nature's a beautiful thing, the circle of life. So yeah, that's what we have for you guys this week. We are going to be together, strangely, again next week. And hi, Angela. How are you? Thanks for joining us live. So next week we're going to be together, and we're going to do a Thanksgiving episode next week. So we should actually put some stuff out and try and get people on. That'd be fun. That'd be fun. Yes, I have wondered what bugs do in the winter. Yes, I know. I think it's really interesting, so appreciate it. So that's it. That's all for tonight. We hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you all again next Monday night for another episode. Take care.
We should be at 7 next week, so.
Okay.
I think.
Thanks.
Okay. Good night.
Bye.